This is the reason that Tesla kind of is famous.
I hope the brakes are as good as the acceleration.
No, they're not.
They're not.
So this is a 2008 Tesla Roadster. It's one of 2,000 that were manufactured. If you go back to the early 2000s, Elon Musk had sold PayPal and had $100 million burning a hole in his pocket. So he went and talked to a couple of guys in the San Francisco Bay Area who had developed a computer algorithm and the computer hardware for turning a three-phase electric motor into a car drivetrain. And the way they would sell people who were potential investors would they would take them out in their prototype, and then once they had a straight spot, they would say, okay, I want you to reach up and touch the dash. And as soon as they started reaching up, they'd trump the accelerator and the person would be thrown back so hard they couldn't touch the dash. And so that kind of sold a lot of people on it and sold Elon Musk on it. And he was interested, purportedly, I haven't talked to him myself, but he was interested in sustainable automotive replacements. So he invested, I think it was 95% or more of the money to develop Tesla. Now the problem is starting from scratch, designing a car is phenomenally expensive, even $100 million, even having the drivetrain wasn't enough. So what they did is they went to a number of car companies, and since it was a performance-based benefit that we were seeing, not just fuel economy, he talked to sports car companies. And the one that actually he came to a deal with was Lotus. And Lotus agreed to sell Tesla the gliders or the empty car frames, and then they would develop the car from there with their own drivetrain. But when you go electric, there are a couple of issues. One of the things, the biggest things is that they had to deal with is the fact that the lithium-ion battery weighs about 900 pounds. To have a practical range and enough amperage, it was just really heavy. So in order to offset that, Tesla went through and replaced all of the body panels with carbon fiber because it's lighter for the same amount of strength. So even though it looks a lot like a Lotus Elise, the entire body, the frame is still from Lotus, but in some of the suspension, but the body panels are all carbon fiber and they're all Tesla original. The one thing that they didn't really fix, and you kind of mentioned that when we were in the car, is the brakes. The brakes are designed for a car that's substantially lighter than this. And they didn't really change them. So whereas if you drive a high performance Corvette or something and you stand on the brakes, it'll throw you against the seat belt. This one, you better have enough stopping room. And you got to know that because you're going to get up to speed very quickly with it. So 0 to 60 is about 4.5 seconds. And its range new was about 240 miles, driven sort of average. Those are EPA estimates, and the way you figure it is you decrease it about 10% because nobody drives like an EPA driver. Same thing for the fuel mileage that you get on an internal combustion car. You never get the exact mileage because nobody drives it like that. So usually with the electric car, you want to reduce your range by 10 or 15%, maybe more if you drive hard or you're going up a lot of hills. So that was when it was new. The battery in this car now it's still the 2008 battery. The range is down to, right when we drove over here today, it was about 115 miles. So I've lost little more than half of the battery capacity. The car still drives the same, it still has great acceleration, but I just can't go very far. And that's compounded by the fact that being a Tesla prototype, it didn't have supercharging, it doesn't have self-driving, it doesn't have even power mirrors or power steering. It's very rudimentary. But without supercharging, it really limits what you can do with the car. And now with the 100-mile range, then again, you subtract 10 or 15%, I can pretty much drive it around Prescott and go home. It really isn't practical from that standpoint. My hope is that somebody reverse engineers the battery and starts producing a lithium ion battery replacement, or Tesla starts making a replacement battery. But until that happens, at some point, once this battery is completely gone, this car will just become a museum piece, which is unfortunate. I hope
Wow,
that doesn't happen.
that's too bad.
This car, unless I were to change the rims, I can only get one tire that fits.
Wow.
Fortunately, it's not a phenomenally expensive tire. The wear is pretty good, so I can't complain too much. It's Yokohama, so it's not like it's a super odd brand. The back tires originally were a very soft, grippy tire so that the computer could add more torque. The computer senses if there's any slippage, and it will adjust how much torque it's sending to the wheel. So they put a really grippy tire on to get the best acceleration, but then the tire only lasted about 5,000 miles.
Oh.
So, and they were very expensive. So I don't have those tires on, obviously. I've got Michelin Pilot Sports. They fit, they work really well. I don't get the maximum acceleration, but you know, it's still insanely fast. So the battery goes from here to the seat backs and all the way down to the bottom of the car. So that's the 900-pound battery right here. This is the computer module. That goes the full width of the car, and it's got all of the circuitry that controls the motor. It's direct drive. If the motor's turning, the wheels are turning, and vice versa. So it just goes through a Borg-Warner gear reduction, and it has one gear, one speed. Of course, the motor's turning like 12,000 RPMs when we're going 80, 90 miles an hour down. Well, not that we would go that fast, but when we're going down the freeway. And you can see from here too, like I said, this is all the carbon fiber. So all of the body panels are carbon fiber all the way around the car to make it as light as possible. Elon Musk, like I said, this is almost an exact replica of Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster. And he eventually moved on, as everybody knows. Once Tesla was pretty successful, he decided he was going to develop SpaceX, and everybody told him he was crazy with that. I mean, the guy's smarter than any three of us. And so he said, sure, fine. And they went ahead and did it anyway. And so he developed SpaceX, and he was testing his Falcon Heavy Rocket. And normally when they test the rocket, they need a payload. So normally they just put like concrete up there, something heavy, so that they can test it. They don't want to put a satellite because it's too expensive. And Elon Musk said, well, that's boring. So he made a mount, and he mounted his Tesla Roadster on the Falcon 9 rocket. He put a spacesuit in the driver's seat, and he launched his Tesla Roadster into space. Now, there's a few things he had to do. I think he let the air out of the tires, and I don't know if he still had the battery in it. I don't know how much weight he needed. But this is the only model of car that is orbiting our solar system. The target was to hit Mars, but they were a fraction of a degree off. So my understanding is it'll miss Mars, and it'll just stay in orbit around the sun. And in however many years, it'll come back around, and maybe we can go up and see it again. It'll probably all be bleached out from the sun and deteriorated then. But this car is literally in space, in our solar system. This is just like radiator coolant. This is antifreeze. And you can see that it's circulating right now.
I hear it circulating.
Right. And so this entire battery is bathed in coolant. Now you might say, well, that's going to short it out. But they isolate the packs, and they have the coolant running between each of the battery packs to maintain a constant temperature. And when the car is charging, you'll actually see the car air conditioner come on to help cool the coolant to maintain the battery temperature as the battery's charging. So the lithium-ion batteries, their longevity is directly related to the state of charge that they stay in. If they're completely discharged, they're bricked. They're done. But if they're at 100% all the time, they also have bridging and they deteriorate and then they don't last as long. And if they have heat, they don't last as long. So the way Tesla maximizes the useful life of the battery is by keeping it water cooled and using whatever systems they have to do that. And then by normally only charging the battery to about 80%. So a Tesla normally will charge to only about 80%. And then you have to set it up to 100% if you're going to need that range. As long as it isn't at 100% for a long period of time, that doesn't hurt the battery. But if you normally keep it at 100%, that's very bad for it. So those are all things to increase the longevity. And they've gotten better and better. So my wife has a Tesla Model S, and hers is 11 years old, and her battery has declined only about 10 or 15%.
Oh, wow.
So this one has deteriorated a lot more than that, but it was a very early prototype. The air scoops are for the computer that controls it, because too much heat in those components is bad. And like I said, it's got the manual mirrors and manual steering, and it's a very, very small cockpit. The interior carbon fiber pieces I got after I bought the car because they were no longer, they were becoming unavailable, a lot of the Roadster parts. So this was the last interior carbon fiber kit they were able to put together at Tesla for me.
Pretty simple car, isn't it?
It's very simple. It's automatic nothing, power nothing, but it is crazy fast and just crazy fun to drive. I bought this car in 2014. It was only 6 years old. It had less than 10,000 miles on it. It had almost full battery capacity. I drove a Tesla and I was in love. I'm like, oh man, this is the best thing since sliced bread. The acceleration's crazy. So I decided I wanted a Tesla, but I still wanted my midlife crisis car, and here's the Roadster. It was perfect. But they had stopped making them. They weren't very available. And I was frustrated. I couldn't find one. And I told my daughter, and she said, oh, I'll find one for you if you take me to Disneyland. So it took her 2 hours.
Well, anything else to add, or is that it?
Nope, that's about all I know about the Tesla Roadster. Oh, and if Elon Musk ever looks at this, when are we getting the Roadster 2? I was looking forward to that.